Hi, my name is Aaron Hyde with High Performance Sports and Training Solutions. I'm a certified exercise physiologist as well as a certified strength and conditioning specialist. Today I'm going to be going over lower body mobility. Now when I'm talking about mobility, I'm referring to your ability to move a joint through the proper range of motion. So that includes flexibility, which is as far as like you think about stretching and different things like that, how I can passively move a joint, and then mobility itself is how I can actively move that joint. So I'm going to go over obviously some stretches that you can do to improve mobility, as well as some mobility specific exercises. So remember, the stretches are going to be a little bit more passive, where I am just stretching the joint, but then mobility, I'm moving that joint through all the different possible ranges of motion that it has. Now the importance of actually doing different types of mobility exercises and flexibility exercises is that you have certain joints that need to be mobile in order for you to function properly. And so the more mobile your mobile joints are, the better they're going to be. Obviously that's without becoming too mobile, but a lot of times people have a lack of mobility or range of motion in certain joints. So for example, today we're going to talk about the ankle joint. The ankle joint, as you can see, is a very mobile joint. When I lose that mobility at my ankle, the ability to move at my ankle, where it becomes restricted, a lot of times I can experience different things like knee pain, hip pain, even low back pain when I'm performing different activities, simply because I can't do something like this with my ankle. And so what happens is this lack of mobility or that restriction in movement starts to affect all my other joints. And so that's why it's important to maintain good flexibility throughout your body, as well as mobility, being able to control and move a joint through all those different ranges of motion. So the first thing I want to address is going to be a seated calf stretch. Now I'm going to use a band, but you can actually perform this with a belt. You can perform it with a towel. So basically all I'm going to do is take this band, wrap it around my foot, and I'm gonna bring my toe towards my shin, towards my body as well. So I'm gonna pull this band and hold just like this, keeping this leg nice and long. I'm gonna feel that stretch right here in the back of my calf. Now what this does, I'm stretching the calf muscle, but the calf muscle is connected down to my ankle. And so if my calves get too tight, a lot of times I can have tightness or stiffness at my ankle. And so for some people who may wear like heels or different things like that, they get really tight calf muscles. So you want to stretch those calf muscles to kind of loosen up some of the tension that you have at the ankle joint. So this is one version that you can do seated down. Like I said, you can use a belt to be able to perform this particular exercise. The next one I'm going to show you is a standing calf raise. And so with this one, I'll be facing this way. All I'm going to do is step back with a staggered stance, put that heel flat into the ground, make sure I'm nice and long, and I'm going to stretch just like this. Now I can lean forward, keeping this back leg straight until I feel a really good stretch in my calf. And I'll just hold that. Now typically you want to hold your stretches for at least 30 seconds. It's mostly ideal if you can do 30 seconds and sometimes longer. If that's all you're doing, you're like really stiff, you can hold those stretches for a minute, and even for some people for up to like 2 minutes. Now I will say for elderly people or people who are like over the ages of 60, 70, 80 years old, a lot of times holding stretches are going to be, for a longer period of time, are going to be actually better for them. And so it really kind of depends on how long you should hold that stretch. Depends on, you know, sometimes like your age and how that age has affected your stiffness or your joint mobility. So we went over the seated calf stretch as well as the standing calf stretch. Now I'm going to show you some mobility exercises that you can perform. And so the mobility exercises, again, that's me controlling the motion and working the motion that I have at that joint, so I can work the full range of motion at that joint. But remember, my muscles are doing that, causing that activity. And so this is actually strengthening those muscles that control that movement. All right, so the first one is going to be four-way ankle. I can do this without a resistance band, but I can also do it with it. I'm going to demonstrate without it. So all you're going to do is go forward towards the ground, bring that toe back up towards the shin. I'm going to go in, and then I'm going to go out. So forward, back down, in, out. All right, and obviously I would do this on both legs. And what this is doing is just working my ankle joint through all the possible ranges of motion that it has. Now, if I wanted to add resistance to that, I could take this band, or again, like a belt or something like that, tie it around, and then I may only focus on, you know, like giving resistance this way and work going away. And just work that way. Then I can pull it here and go in. Again, I can do those different, use resistance and do something different with like a belt or anything like that that you can wrap around your ankle. So that's the 4-way ankle. Again, that's working the range of motion that you have at your ankle joint. And then you have your ABCs. So basically what the ABCs are, I'm going to spell my ABCs by drawing it out with my foot. I'm going to spell my ABCs from A to Z. So I'll demonstrate. It may look different from the camera view, but this is going to be A across, and then I do B, which is here, and then I do C, which is there, D, and I continue that all the way through until I get to Z. Now with the mobility exercises, you can perform those anywhere from like 10 to 12 repetitions. Particularly for the ABCs, once or twice through is plenty. But if I'm doing like the 4-way, I can do 10 to 12 repetitions and count each one as being just 1 rep. So I'll go all 4 ways, one time, that's 1 rep, and then I'll just keep doing that until I reach 10 to 12 repetitions. But those particular exercises are really going to be beneficial if you have like stiffness, as well as the stretches, if you have like stiffness or tightness like in your calf muscles, or as well as like your ankles. So I'm going to come back with another video, and I'll be focusing on hip exercises and hip mobility. And so I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you can go out and perform some of these stretches and mobility exercises. Stay tuned for the exercises for hip mobility.